All right, it's Friday. Let's talk about vampires. Let's start in 1725. The word vampire entered the written record during what became known as the Vampire Epidemic. The event's chilling origins trace back to the notorious case of Peter Blagojovitch, a Serbian farmer who lived in what is now Kisiljevo. Blagojovitch, a 62-year-old man, died suddenly, but his death marked the beginning of a terrifying local outbreak. According to legend, after his burial, Blagojovitch allegedly crawled from his grave at night to haunt his own son. When his son refused to offer food to the evil spirit, he was found dead the following morning. Soon after, 9 others in the area met similar gruesome ends, dying from sudden unexplained illness and mysterious blood loss. Blagojovitch's wife even claimed her deceased husband returned to ask for food, or in some versions of the legend, shoes. Fear gripped the village and locals armed themselves with garlic, believed to repel vampires, and other religious symbols and wooden stakes as they prepared for the worst. The panic led to the exhumation of Blagojovitch's body, where locals were horrified to find that it was disturbingly well preserved. It showed no signs of decomposition. They drove a wooden stake through his heart and burned his remains, which, it was said, ended the deadly plague. Another tragic case unfolded just months later, involving Arnold Paole, a Serbian soldier whose death in 1925 sparked a second vampire scare. Paole reportedly died from a fall, but soon after, 4 people claimed to be tormented by his undead spirit. They too fell ill and died shortly thereafter. This prompted the exhumation of Paole's body, which, according to witnesses, shows signs of vampirism: undecayed flesh, newly grown hair, and fingernails. Paole's body was similarly destroyed by fire, and the outbreak seemed to subside. But the story didn't end there. In 1731, a second wave of vampirism erupted, killing 17 people and leading to the even more exhumations and burnings of suspected vampires. Austrian military doctors were sent to investigate, documenting the bizarre events, which spread rapidly across Europe. These accounts, along with others, eventually made their way back to Western Europe, sparking widespread fear and fascination. Controversy surrounding the vampire phenomenon reached the scholarly world, notably in the writings of a Benedictine monk called Antoine Calmet. His treatise on the apparitions of spirits and vampires, published in 1746, became one of the definitive texts on the subject, recounting stories of vampirism from Hungary and Moravia. Calmet also documented the haunting case of Stanoska, a young girl who died during the 1731 outbreak. Stanoska had woken in the night, claiming to have been strangled by a recently deceased victim, and after 3 days of suffering, she too passed. Her death was linked to the supposed vampire, whose body was later found to have fresh blood and no signs of decay. As the vampire hysteria spread, religious fear and superstition fueled the panic, with villagers misinterpreting the natural decomposition and disease symptoms. Spasms, bloating, and blood around the mouth were often mistaken for signs of vampirism. Conditions like tuberculosis, which cause symptoms resembling blood loss and weakness, as well as rabies, with its aggressive behavior and fear of light, may have contributed to the widespread belief in these undead horrors. Ultimately, the vampire outbreaks of the 18th century may have been caused by a combination of disease, natural decomposition, and cultural superstition. But they nevertheless sparked a legacy of vampire lore that continues to capture the imaginations of the world today. All right, that's all we have for the second episode of Fanged Fridays. I'll see you guys next Friday.